Hello everyone! So we're back with our playthrough. As you can see, we've done some quests off camera. The main thing I did was fish for the fish that we had to do, the bream, do some cultivation. I got some plants to sell and to show you how much they're worth. And I also got the materials for another quest. So for example, in this case, we're ready to deliver.
Here's your... Well, swab the deck and call me Ishmael. I knew you could do it. Hand them over, whippersnapper.
I think these are worth more on the open market than the rainbow trout I caught earlier.
Worth ain't squat. It's what you learn from the catch that matters. Now stop all this fool talk about your wallet and get to practicing.
Wow.
Hey, Pops. What does sprinting 20 kilometers have to do with fishing?
You won't be catching anything with them scrawny little stick limbs. We gotta get you buffed up.
Yep. So fishing skills improved. Again, fishing skills are very important up to a specific point. I think it's like 6 or 7.
The next assignment is 5 black bass. Go and give it everything you got, apprentice.
I trust that you are not abusing our labors for the purpose of easy profit, old man.
Oh, and would a little compensation be a bad thing? I'm teaching invaluable techniques here, you floating magazine.
Lies! It is clear that money is your ultimate goal, and Grimoire Vice is not to be referred to as a mere periodical.
The man's like just spitting fire. Wow, that was brutal. So, yeah.
Why do all men have to use?
We don't have much else to do here. I accepted all the quests. So let's continue. And we'll go for Forest Myth right away. By the way, for anyone who doesn't know where to catch bream, it's basically the same place where the old man is, the coast there. You just go to the sandy part and yeah, you just go to the sandy part and sorry. Just use lure, okay? And if you use lure, you are fine. I'm done killing this guy. I'm kind of sick of him. Like, I've killed him 3 times now and he hasn't dropped anything for me. So I still have to look that up. But yeah. Yeah. So another quest we did, and I think we'll do it here because it's on the way. This guy's looking for his son.
Hey there. Your son come back yet?
No, I haven't seen him. Where could he be?
He's in Seafront. Or he was, until he ran away again.
Oh, crud. Let me guess. Did he tell you an elaborate story and then ask for help? That boy is... well, he's a bit of a dirty liar. I probably should have mentioned that.
Should have.
So that whole story was a setup. He sent us on a wild goose chase and then gave us the slip.
Since I cannot imagine you letting this go, perhaps we should return to Seafront. There may still be a lead or 2 left to pursue.
Good idea. We can't let him get away with this. What's wrong?
How can a son bring so much despair to his family? He seems completely ignorant of the pain he has caused. It's deplorable.
I love it when you sound like a grumpy old man, Vice.
Perhaps I only sound that way because I have existed since time immemorial.
How old are you anyway?
You know, I'm not exactly sure.
They say memory loss is a sign of old age.
Well, it's still preferable to being a deplorable liar like that son.
Fair point. So I just stopped here
stock up.
because I wanted to show you how much stuff sells for at this point in the game. So in my case, I did the flower farming, and it's actually super profitable. So as you see, I have 9 peach moonflowers, a couple of pink moonflowers, white moonflower, and yeah, it's just super profitable. If you have the time, do it. I have a method published for that. So yeah. See?
Come back.
got some gold now. They ask you to fish a fish. It is somewhere here where you have to fish it. I think it's down here, the coast there. Okay, so there's that. And that's where we'll go to fish it. But now let's head to Forest of Myth, because I think it has been a long time. That was a new text. Sadly, I didn't have time to read it, because it loaded super fast this time. Okay. So we'll go here, here, and...
Get out of my way! I have to save Yona!
Calm down. You cannot prevail if you are blinded with rage.
Whoa. It's so beautiful.
It sure is quiet here.
Such silence bodes ill. There's trouble on the way. I'm certain of it.
You know, a little optimism now and then wouldn't hurt, Vice.
Such cheek.
Nah, he's right. So let's say these quests are hell on earth. Okay, so just so you know, get ready to read, get ready to... Well, you're in for a ride, is what I mean.
Beware, beware. The words.
The words? What do you mean?
Contagious words. Those who dream.
Those who dream?
Hold a moment. There is a strange new sensation in my mind.
Oh, Vice's voice rose in a quizzical way.
It is not quizzical.
What's going on?
Village's body shuddered as he slowly opened his eyes.
Perhaps we should start by asking this man.
Who are you?
We heard something happened to this village, so we came to see if we could help.
I'm Aino and this Vice, we heard. So it's kind of like you are retelling the story. The maze stared at Aino and Vice.
You can speak to me. I must have caught you in my dream.
In your dream?
The mayor explained. In the past weeks, a mysterious disease called the Death Dream had spread across the Forest of Myth. Those who caught it were cursed to fall asleep and live forever within the world of their own dreams. The village mayor had determined the Death Dream was spread from person to person by spoken words. Before he could learn more, the disease took him as well. Vice started the mayor, his mouth twitching slightly.
Now see here. Are you saying that we have been absorbed into your dream?
Well, yes. I think you have.
In other words, we've caught the Death Dream?
Before the mayor could confirm Ainoan's suspicion, Vice exploded with rage.
Ridiculous. Preposterous. Completely unfathomable on every conceivable level. I don't even recall falling asleep.
That's just how the death dream works.
Though polite, the mayor was clearly trying to brush aside the book's remarks.
My remarks are not to be brushed aside, fool.
The mayor twisted his mouth into an embarrassed grimace, then quickly changed the subject to who Ainan had seen and what they had discussed since coming to the village.
Something there must have caused you to enter my dream. A certain conversation, a specific word, something.
They racked their brains, but could find no easy solutions. There was simply too many words to consider. Too much random chatter, too many meaningless conversations.
Vice does not engage in meaningless conversations.
His suggestion that Vice chose his words carelessly seemed to sting his pride.
It does not seem to sting my pride, you bloated gasbag of a narrator. It has demolished it utterly.
Irritated, Vice looked skyward, as if searching for answers in the heavens.
I was doing no such thing. Just leave me alone already.
The anger created by his harsh words bled over to Ainoyan like a contagion. Wait, he said suddenly. Did someone just say contagion? He said, well, if so, what of it? Well, that villager told us to watch out for contagious words, right? Mayer leaned forward with renewed interest, pushing a startled Vice aside in the process. He must have said something, right? Asked the Mayor. Some specific combination of words. What was it? It was about dreaming, or something that dreams, or... Oh, what the hell was it? Sheep? Cried Vice suddenly, blurting out the first thing that popped into his head. The others stared at him for a moment before slowly shaking their heads. After a few more minutes of thought, his face suddenly lit up. I remember! Those who dream! That's what he said, I'm sure of it! At this, the mayor produced a thick sheaf of papers from his pocket. He flipped through them a few times before finally nodding his approval at Ainoyan. That sounds right, he said, as a stray sheet of paper fluttered on to the ground. My notes also mentioned something about that. I bet it was the last thing you heard before you fell asleep. The mayor shook his head. His worn pencil stopped tracing lines across a lone piece of paper. The last month, I've done nothing but study the disease we call the death dream, he said. I mean, I'm the mayor, right? It's my job to protect the people from whatever comes along. But I never expected a couple of outsiders to start entering people's dreams. When I paused, a grimace crossing his face. I should probably be taking notes or something. Vice immediately fired back. I applaud the force of will it takes to research a disease in your dream, he said, but perhaps we should bend your efforts to escaping this place instead of trying to understand it. My hand tightened around his pencil, snapping off the tip. I've tried to escape. The very first moment I realized I was locked inside my own dream, I've been looking for a way out. But I don't think it exists. And this is my dream, right? If there was an exit, I'd know about it. Sorry. He paused for a moment, his unfocused eyes staring at nothing. The village was so beautiful, he said, to no one in particular. And it was filled with the most wonderful people you could ever hope to meet. But once this disease took hold, things changed. It's like someone took a sponge and soaked all the color out of our lives. I just want us to be whole again. I want us to be free. And I won't stop trying until it happens. Ian nodded in agreement. Huh? Wait a second. I didn't nod. Look, if we can be of any help, he said, just ask. Now, hold on. I did not just say that. Silence! Cried Vice. Grimoire looked from Ainoyan to the mayor and back again, his face filling with confidence. Grimoire Vice's face always confident. Thank you very much. Mayor, you told us that nothing can exist in the dream without you knowing of it. But yet you seem surprised to see us when we first arrived, yes? Mayor slowly raised his head, realization dawning on his face. My God, he said, you were right. I had no idea you were coming. The human imagination is a limitless engine, said Vice, and the dreams are the fuel. If you can imagine an exit, then it must be so. With your permission, we shall search it out. Thank you, said the mayor. I don't know how I can repay you. Payment is not required. We're as eager as you are to be done with this place. The mayor suddenly felt as if he could breathe again. He'd almost forgotten what it was like. Good luck, you two, he called as the departing forms of Ainoyan and Vice. We're all counting on you. As he slowly faded into the misty forest, the mayor was struck by a sense of déjà vu. Saw this man once before, he thought. But where? Ainoyan's mood darkened as he trudged through the forest. Hours earlier, when the beauty of the place was still a new thing, he'd been confident they could get in, find the exit, and be home in time for dinner. But the deeper they went, the more the forest closed in around him. The mist made it difficult to see more than a foot in any direction. Moss-covered rocks seemed determined to twist his ankle. More than once he'd been forced to steady himself on the rough bark of the tree, and his hands now left small trails of blood on everything he touched. Sorry about this, a lot of reading. Additionally, Weiss was proving to be a spectacularly poor traveling companion. Unhindered by either terrain or physical effort, he spent most of his time urging Ainoyan to pick up the pace and grumbling about their slow progress. Finally, after Weiss muttered something about legless turtles being more adept at navigating the environment, Ainoyan snapped. Okay, Weiss, cram it for a second, would you? You don't have to walk. Ainoyan leaned against a tree and tried to stretch the knots from his back. How can this stupid forest be so big, he muttered to himself. The moment the words tumbled from his mouth, a cacophony of insects sprang to life. Every imaginable form of buzz, click, and hiss roared out at a volume that rattled his teeth. He slapped his hands over his ears and screamed to be heard. Weiss, what's going on? He could see Weiss' mouth moving, but he might as well have been shouting in a tornado. The insects screamed, the forest howled, and then, just as Ainoyan's ears seemed ready to tear from his head and go running for cover, the sound diminished. Hesitantly, he removed the hand from his left ear and listened to the creatures of the woods. Three. Okay, that's word to pronounce. Or that's weird. Oh my god. As the insect symphony dimmed another decibel, Ainoyan began to detect pattern in the sound. This isn't random, he thought. It's not just white noise, it's something else. The insects weren't just calling out, they were asking a question. Ooh. Okay. 1 with it is lacking. 2 with it is ideal. 3 with it. Dangerous. What should that be? By my pages, is this a riddle? Okay guys, just a second, I realized that my camera is bothering you here. So you can't read the riddles. I'm not sure how, like... Yeah... I'll leave it here for now. Okay, no, let's put it here, I guess, for today. And let's continue. I guess so. I mean, it feels sort of forest, but maybe it's the key to getting out of this place. Then I leave it to you to answer. Okay, so what is it? A seesaw? How should I know? I mean, it's a secret. This one's pretty easy. This one's cool. Inwardly furious that Weiss left the task to him, I sighed and gave the only answer that had made sense. It's a secret. Right? The sounds of the insects stopped as suddenly as it began. The forest undergrowth parted before Ainoyan like a rippled wave opening a new path. These forest's anthropods are making a road for us, said Weiss with a gleam. Pleased at passing the test, moved on with new intensity. The path offered his body relief from the undergrowth, but gave even greater cheer to his mind. As long as they were on a path, their journey had a purpose. Because the forest has accepted us, huh? I spun round to face his companion. Do not mistake the will of this forest for some happy pet you can suddenly befriend. You have no idea where this path leads. As Weiss finished speaking, the pair turned a corner and found themselves facing a clear forest spring. Smiling, Ainoyan picked up a small rock and set it skipping across the surface of the water. Good heavens, said Weiss. His surprise was understandable. Each time the rock struck the surface of the water, a musical note rang out. When the rock finally stopped moving and sank to the bottom of the spring, the ripples it left behind came together to form words. I enter through the window, but break no glass. When night falls, I vanish. What am I? Absurdly easy, barked Vice. Now answer it. So in this case, Ainoyan grit his teeth and tried not to reach out and strangle his companion. He's right after all, this one's pretty easy. I enter the window, and I am sunlight. A plume of water suddenly burst from the spring. Sunlight filtered through the trees and reflected on the plume, creating a shimmering rainbow that spanned the entire horizon. In all my years, said Vice softly, I've never seen such a sight. Perhaps I have misunderstood the intentions of this place. Hey look, cried Ainoyan, waking Vice from his daze. There's a house or something over there. Glancing in the direction of his friend's extended hand, Vice saw a small cottage nestled among the trees. That's weird, isn't it, Vice? I mean, who would build a house all the way down here? So he went to the door, pounded it. After a minute of song-lit banging, the door cracked open, and a small man peered out. His body was cloaked from neck to toe in a large black cape, while his face was obscured by mist. Began Ainoyan, but before he could go any further, the cloaked man held a hand up and began speaking. I have 4 legs in the morning, 2 at noon, but end the night with 3. What am I? Ainoyan tried to ask the cloaked man who he was and what he was doing there, but he simply repeated the question. If we wish to engage this man in conversation's advice, it seems we must answer his riddle. I guess. At least it's an easy one. And obviously in this case, it is a man, because you start as a child. This is the Sphinx riddle, it's very famous. The mist dissolved from the cloaked figure as he spoke a single word. Correct. With that, the man flung his garment aside, revealing his true identity. You are the mayor! Cried Ainoyan. The small man slowly shook his head. I'm not the mayor, you know. Now listen to your words. Long ago, I saw a version of you that was not yourself. Sorry, what's that mean? It'll make sense in time. At present, I simply congratulate you on cracking the seal of the death dream. Now you must go to the person at the forest entrance. With that, the man turned his heel and slammed the door behind him. Ainoyan watched mist seep up from the ground and enveloped the cottage, erasing it from existence. When they returned to the forest entrance, they found the mayor leaning against a tree. As soon as he caught sight of the duo, he sprang to his feet and scrambled over to them. Good gravy, he cried. You made it! You actually made it back! His left hand grasped Ainoyan's and pumped it so fiercely it threatened to dislodge from the socket, while his right seized Vice by the cover and swung him through the air. By the heavens! Stop shaking me, fool! I have not even told you if we were successful or not. He smiled at them and shook his head. I'm just happy you're alive. I didn't think I'd ever see you again. Ainoyan withdrew himself from the mayor's eager handshake with a slight smile. We broke the death dream seal, he said. At least I think we did. Mayor's face beamed as Ainoyan filled him in on the details. When the tale was done, 3 of them laid down on the forest ground and fell asleep. Ainoyan cocked his head. Hey, hang on a second. It's crazy. Why would you just lay down and go to sleep? Cease your endless battle and go to sleep, fool! Fighting against the rules of this place is futility itself. So, they did it. Have you forgotten? Continued Vice. It's words that control the death dream. Words that allow us to move from place to place. No matter how unnatural they seem, words are absolute. Therefore, if the words tell us to sleep, then sleep we shall. And once we do, the story will continue. Without the trio found their eyes growing heavy, their breathing slowly. This is the first time, began the mayor, the first time I felt tired since I was imprisoned here. His words were cut off by a loud, long yawn, and he remembered nothing more. They might have slept for an hour or a year. When they awoke, things had a slightly more real quality to them. Mist felt thicker, the leaves greener. It was clear that they had awakened from their dream. Oh, Anuan shook the mayor's shoulder gently. Good news, he said. I think we made it. Oh wow, said the mayor in an old voice. We did, I'm back. He blinked once, and then again, as if not quite believing the sight before him. You'd have no idea how much this means. The death dream was spreading throughout the village. And I wanted to... Well, I thought I could figure out how to stop it, but I guess that wasn't the case. I must have caught the disease and become trapped in my own dream. The mayor started to stand, then collapsed back to earth. He stared at his legs as if trying to remember how they worked, then glanced at Ainuain and shrugged. Without a word, the young man reached down and pulled the mayor to his feet. Real life may take some getting used to, said the mayor as a wry smile crossed his lips. You shall relearn in short order, I'm sure, said Vice. For now, you should return to your home and rest. No, said the mayor. I can't. Some of the villagers are still trapped in Death Dream. I have to save them. The mayor slowly made his way to the divine tree in the center of the village, then bowed his head and prayed silently. This is a holy tree, he explained. When the prayer was finished, it's a guardian of our village's history and memories. Superstition will only make our mission harder, added Vice. We should not put our faith in the gods. Mayor shook his head. Not the gods, the words. Legends say there are trees home to a powerful magic known as Silvers. They could not contain the surprise. It seems a goal had been found in the most unexpected of places. I say, muttered Vice. Certainly a stroke of luck. As three of them said their goodbyes, Ananan mentioned a strange man who had given them the third riddle of the mysterious words he had left for him. So, what the hell did it mean that he saw someone like him but a bad version? Lost in thought, he stared into space for a long moment. You know, this is going to sound odd, but I had the feeling I'd seen you before too. He tried to understand that with a straight face, but he couldn't. And the mayor didn't seem to notice. Deja vu, right? Anyway, I figure it's just some kind of illusion created by the death dream. It probably doesn't matter anything. It doesn't mean anything. Ainuain gave the mayor a nod and a smile, but inwardly his thoughts were racing. Something wrong about the mayor and his words. And what exactly is going on here? The riddle would prove to be the most difficult one of all.
Oh, thank you so much. Now I can finally return to a normal life.
This is one of the most bizarre diseases I have ever encountered.
I know. That's why we have to help the other villagers, no matter what.
Dark execution. Spikes from the floor.
For a sealed verse, that didn't take much effort.
Yes, all a touch too easy if you ask me. It's almost as if someone was guiding us to this village.
Don't overthink advice.
Yeah. So we'll have to finish the quest, sadly. And it is, again, a lot of reading. My voice is getting kind of tired, but it's fine. We'll do these two.
victim. This work certainly is trying.
And the villager's dream, yes.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Vice.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
This should be faster. A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Vice and Aino Ayan had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Vice?
As Vice considered its answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage.
Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Ainoayan nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age. Here and there, thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if defying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Ainoayan light-headed. His feet hurting, crouched down to rest. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what? The complaining had already begun. Vice tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke? He said. No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure yourself there. Perhaps not, but thinking of it this way might make it easier for you to bear. Ainoayan glanced at Vi's grinning face, shook his head, and resumed walking. As time passed, he grew more painful and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. We're definitely getting closer, said Vice in an effort to cheer his companion. Yes, this much is certain. Encouraged, Ainoayan lifted his gaze. Suddenly, he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road with his mouth and eyes wide open, and his finger pointing at the distance. Water! He cried. It's water! Water? Asked Vice. Preposterous! I didn't see any water. Over there! Just ahead of us! Look, the sun is reflecting off it! Without waiting for a response, Ainoayan sprang to life and bounded towards the side. What in the... There was no water. Just, there was nothing but sand. He closed his eyes and sighed as Vice floated up behind him, chuckled softly. I believe this is known as a mirage, he said. Many a desert traveler has spoken of such things. Ainoayan shook his head bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide open once more. Wait, there it is. I just missed it. Look, it's right there. He sprinted again. After a few minutes of running, he came to a halt. He could have sworn it was there. Confused, put his hands to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search of it. The chase continued for nearly an hour, until an exasperated Vice finally floated up to Ainoayan and struck him in the face with a cover. Enough, you belligerent idiot! Stop this at once! There is no water here! Ainoayan's face clouded. There isn't? There's not, and perhaps next time you will listen to me when I tell you as much. I paused a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the city of art. When the man looked up, straight out before him was a row of impossibly tall sculptures. The journey was at an end. They're huge, as if forgetting the heat and the pain of the past hours. I've never seen anything so big. Each sculpture formed from roughly the same shape, a tall rectangle that stretched up towards the sky. But that is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. What kind of city is this? Where are the people? Where are the houses? Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use. The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with light and red, amber, and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of smaller ones. Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colors and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, they eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans, and Ryan uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. The three statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Ainwayan moved to touch the nearest statue, the bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures. Aligning on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth, the false one will always speak lies. With that, the bird departed, as if on cue. The 3 statues shuddered to life, acquiring color and form as they began to breathe. Look at that, they're alive! Triplets bowed low before Ainwayan. Please, said Alpha, you have to get me out of this nightmare. I'm real! Stop lying, said Beta. He turned to Ainwayan and threw his hands in the air. Alpha's fake, you know? I'm the real one. What a load of crap, said Gamma. Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here. The respective pleas given, the 3 statues returned to their frozen state. Silence once again enveloped the city. When you consider all the statements, only one of them could be the real thing. Okay? So this one is very hard. He furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth, the false ones will always speak lies. So in this case... okay, so I remember it being Beta, but I'm very bad at this one. Like, the first time I played the game, I had to spend tons and tons of time thinking about this. So, yeah. The real one is Beta. Though Ainwayan's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Vice nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Vice, in the dry tones of lecture, Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma's claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore the theory crumbles. Now let's presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which would leave us with 2 statues telling the truth. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Vice finished his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundless into the dust, while Beta sprang to life once more. Congratulations, villager, said Vice in a cheerful voice. Time to awaken has arrived. Thank you for saving me, cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as he could, as long as he could go, before an uncomfortable Ainoan pulled him up to his feet. Why did you have a dream like this? Why did you have a dream like this? Asked Vice. Have you been to the city before? The villager slowly looked at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. Don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way. Could have ever been to a place like this. But at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before. Deja vu, uttered Ainoan, just like the mayor. The vague sense of unease that struck Ainoan during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too.
Okay, so we're missing just one villager. Oh god, I'm dying.
This person must be...
It would appear...
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there. That dream world sorta creeps me out.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. How long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is stuck beneath a starway in the long unused catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that plays without end. Light has no place here. When it is a forgotten friend, pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes, and eternity slips by in a single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison. No one there? An unfamiliar voice? My savior! I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters on my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh, I sob. Surely this is product of my addled mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cry. Love of all gods, help me. Impossibly, I hear the sound of log being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy in a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to the blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. Who are you? How have you come to this place? I am Grimoire Vice. This is Ainoan. Long have I been searching for you. Stand. Shall we awaken from this nightmare together? The one known as Ainoan extends his hand and pulls me from the cell. My eyes are slow to adjust to freedom. My ears are keen as ever. No, my ears are keen as ever. And they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. I never thought to hear that again, I whisper. Okay. If this were not such a terrible storm, said Grimoire, look at your feet. I force my eyes open and see water pulling around my ankles and lapping my shins. So much of it. Yes, and more comes each moment we lay. Don't make good of our escape. We shall all drown in this castle. We know you're weak, but your only hope to survive this place. Damn it, long-forgotten friend made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are amazed, twisting upon themselves like an endless entrails of a giant. And here comes the puzzle. So I squint down the dim corridors and I proceed north. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door of the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of grey matter. It has been showed against the side wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outline of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away in the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look from it to the beds and back again till the horror does fall upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they were alive or dead, I do not know. Insanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness. I find myself opening the door and leaving the most terrible of rooms. Squint down the dim corridors, and then I would have to proceed east. Squint down the dim corridors, and in this case I proceed north. And finally, I will go east again. At the end of the path, I find myself in a great hall with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the center of the room. Once there, I behold a beautiful dining table upon which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movements, I approach the chair, the table's head, but as the truth of the matter dawns at me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains. And is the movement I saw. This is the movement I saw. This once splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to stand in my shaking hands, then slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, I gaze glance on the chairs upon which the dead were seated. It's a mistake. The chairs proved to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes, drawn from the seat up to the butt and down to the arms. This explains the color of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only play that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. Or if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. My mind gasped frantically at the possibility that these souls had committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment. But in truth, I suspect they had committed no crime at all, though there would be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. So what you do is you squint, dim corridors, and finally proceed north. Get stall hope, and make it to the front door. Break it down, someone cries. So I gave myself to the effort. In tandem with both my companions, I slap my body against the thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives way, and we find ourselves sprawled on the ground outside the castle. The storm is in retreat, the clouds above are still dark and foreboding, but to the west I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I cry in tears. I would surely have died there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters, and sheepishly try to cover my exposed skin. Your dress? Asked Vice. And you're a woman, madam? I am. I proffered to the two a smile. I suppose it comes as something of surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I could see that the only one known, as I know I am disappointed that the torn dress will be given no further description. But he hides it well. With a nod and shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. And behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, inviting the countless damned souls inside with their final shout. After a moment, the castle windows shatter with a mighty roar, and fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, rustling to and fro in the front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades.
you have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
I hear that. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
Yeah, so we did all of this because there is a reward to all of our effort.
Oh, how wonderful. Thank you so much. Here, I have something for you.
Faith. You gotta have
Wow, this
faith.
looks valuable. I can really have it?
Of course. It's apparently a weapon of some renown, but we have little use for it.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you again for everything.
Okay. Perfect. So that's the Voice of Myth. And again, it was a lot of reading. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. We will have to stop our episode here because it was kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool how they take a super different direction to it all, and that they make you read some stories. Seriously, take your time to read them. I gave you the solutions right away, but you know, it's just so much fun. So yeah, hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon. Thanks for watching.